lesson 6.6, we're going to be dividing by a monomial. So our parts are, in the numerator, that is called the dividend. The denominator is called the divisor. And once we divide, what remains is called the quotient. So here, we want to divide 12x cubed plus 8x squared plus x plus 4 by 4x. So this would look like, in fractional form, 12x cubed plus 8x squared plus x plus 4 all over 4x. So when your divisor, so what's in the denominator, is a monomial, meaning it's glued together with multiplication, you're going to write every numerator underneath that same denominator, the same divisor. Next, we are going to simplify each of our terms. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. One of these x's can cancel out with one of those x's. 8 divided by 4 is 2. One of these x's can cancel out with one of those x's. These x's can cancel out, leaving us with a 1 in our numerator. And these 4's can cancel out, leaving us with 1 in our numerator. So our quotient, so what remains after we can cancel out, we would have 3x squared plus 2x plus 1/4 plus 1 over x. Okay? Next one, we can also see it in this format. So again, this is a monomial for our divisor, so we're going to take and write in our fractional form. So here's our dividend, our numerator. And we're going to put it all over our divisor. And then we're going to separate each of our terms. We can only do separation if we have a monomial in our denominator. X squared, y cubed, negative x squared, y cubed, negative x squared, y cubed. And you can see here I took my signs with me, and that's going to help me with my cancellation and then knowing what my answers need to be. So 2 of these x's can cancel out with 2 of those. 3 of these y's can cancel out with 3 of those y's. Here my negatives will cancel out. 2 of my x's will cancel out with 2 of them, leaving 1. 3 of my y's will cancel out, leaving me with 1. Here, all of my x's cancel out. All of my y's cancel out. So here I have 8 divided by negative 1, which would be negative 8. I have an x squared remaining, and I have a y squared remaining. Here, my negatives cancel out, so I'm left with a positive 3, an x, and a y. Here, 5 divided by a negative would be a negative 5, and all my x's and y's cancel out. Okay, so that's with a monomial. Now, what if we divide by a binomial, meaning 2 terms? So our glue now is addition and subtraction, and we know we can't separate with addition and subtraction. So now we're going to set it up by using long division. So your divisor, what you're dividing by, goes outside of my long division sign. Then I put in my dividend, which is what I'm dividing by. I have to make sure that I have all of my terms. So I have power of 2, power of 1, constant. So I'm not missing anything. Now I'm going to solve it kind of through multiplication. So I have x. I always want to make my first term. So x times something has to make 2x squared. So 2 times x times x. So 2 times 1 is 2, and x times x would be x squared. 2 times negative 5 would be negative 10, and x times 1 would be x. So I line my terms, then I'm going to make one big subtraction down. You know you've done it correctly if your first term will always cancel out. Now I have negative 7x minus a negative 10x. So these two negatives become positive. So it's really saying negative 7x plus 10x, which would be 3x. If I'm dividing by two terms, then I have to have two terms. So I'm going to bring down my next one. So something times x needs to make 3x, so that would be a positive 3. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. Subtract down. So 3x minus 3x is 0. Negative 15 minus a negative 15. So these two negatives make a positive. So negative 15 plus 15 is 0. So I have nothing remaining. So my quotient, my answer, is if I were to divide these, I would get 2x plus 3. Okay, let's look at example 4 now. So with example 4, again I have x squared plus 5x plus 8, and I want to divide it by x plus 3. So I set up my part. So here's my divisor. Here's my dividend, x squared plus 5x plus 8. I'm not missing any terms. And now I'm going to divide. So x times something to make x squared is x. X times x is x squared. X times 3 is 3x. And now I'm going to subtract down. So x squared minus x squared, those cancel out. 5x minus 3x, I'm left with 2x. Since I'm dividing by two terms, I must have two terms. So I bring down my next term. X times something to make 2x. Well, 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times 3 is 6. I minus down. So now my 2x's cancel out, and 8 minus 6 is 2. So now I have a remainder. So I have something left over. So to write my answer, I'm going to have my quotient plus my remainder over the divisor, what I divided by. So my quotient, I had x plus 2, what I was able to have. Plus, I was left over with a 2, and I divided by x plus 3. So this would be my solution.